Sure. So we'll do this using the calculator. So if you are given a graph like this, where I have 3 different lines, your first thing to do is to try to make sure that you can identify which line is with which graph, obviously. Here what I've done is I've just added some numbers. So obviously this equation number 1 represents that line. Equation number 2 represents this line. Equation 3 represents this line here. So let's say that I wanted to find out this point B right here. Point B is the intersection of line 3 and of line 2. So I'd need to try to solve those ones. If you're doing this using substitution or elimination, you just set up those 2 equations and see what happens. Because you guys asked me to do this using graphing calculator, what I'd do is I would just take each one of these. So maybe start with number 1 and then just solve for y so that I can actually enter it into the calculator, right? So to solve for y with that one, I would just rewrite it as 8y equals negative 2.75x plus 32. So again, all that I've done there is just subtracted the 2.75x from both sides. Now, of course, just divide by 8. And you'll end up getting y equals, and I have no idea what negative 2.75 divided by 8 equals. 11 over 20. So that'll reduce down to 11 over 20 times x plus, and what does this reduce down to? Good. So we've got the 11 over 20x plus 4, and that's for equation number 1. Now if I want to do the same sort of thing for equation number 2, and I'm kind of running out of space here, but I'll do it right here. Equation number 2, if I do the exact same process, I'm going to get 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. Okay. And then just divide everything by 3 to get the y by itself, and you're going to get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. At this point, you probably already know what that coordinate at A is. What is that coordinate? Yeah, it's 0, 4. The reason you know is that the y-intercept of both of these is a 4, and that's for line 1 and 2, so those things cross right there at 0, 4, which you can tell simply from the equation. If you don't notice that, no problem, we can figure it out in a second. For number 3, I'll do the exact same thing, and I would write this as, so we're just going to take negative 2y and subtract, so negative 1.25x plus 7.5. Oops, and you can't see that, so I'll just move that over a bit for you. Okay, and then divide by negative 2. And so I get y equals negative 1.25 divided by 2. What does that turn into?
I think it's 5 over 4.
Think it's 5 over 4. If you're not positive, we can always just grab our calculator, and if you type that in, so I had negative 1.25 being divided by, what was it? Negative 2. I get 0.625, and again, if you hit math and then turn it into a fraction, you get 5 over 8. So you can write it either as 0.625 or just as 5 over 8. And here I'd get, I'll just type it in as 5 over 8 x, oops, 5 over 8 x plus, and then the same sort of thing here, 7.5 divided by negative 2 is going to give me, and I should have had a negative there. What does it turn into? Okay, if you're not sure, once again, you can just type it in. Good, 3.75, or if you want it as a fraction, it really doesn't matter. Either write it as 3.75 or as 15 over 4. Okay, either way. I'll do 3.75 for this one. Okay, now, once you've got all that, now we can actually type these into our calculator and find out where they cross. So we'll do that in the next section here.